We'll have, I think there's like 15 people or so registered for this call. So there'll be a recording. Liz and I are the only people pinned in the recording, so your faces won't be on there. And we'll be asking you today to use the chat rather than your voice so that you don't have to worry about showing up in the recording, just to respect your privacy.
Yes.
So we will read
go
out
ahead?
the chat, but we'll do that anonymously.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're speaking, Jen. You want to dive in and introduce yourself?
Okay. I am Jen Birchfield. I'm a health coach. I'm a leadership coach. I have 20 years in massage therapy and yoga that have led me into a unique integration of somatic work in my coaching work. And my thing that drives me, the thing that excites me, is helping people like you all um, find that whole life connection with success and freedom and joy, to really feel into that being present in all the areas of your wonderful life. So that is me in a teeny tiny nutshell, professional nutshell. what about you, Liz?
So I am Dr. Liz Winders. I'm a healer and energetics coach. Before that, I was a clinical psychologist. I made that transition out of psychology practice in 2018 after a personal awakening, and really haven't looked back. My passion in life is assisting people as they move through the trials and struggles and sometimes traumas of life that ultimately lead to awakening. Yes. That is me.
It is you. I can testify.
All right, so if you haven't heard this already, please have a piece of paper, a journal, take the first piece of paper and just box it off. Create 4 boxes. And do we want to do our agreements, Jen?
Oh, sure. So we always, whenever we do a call or a group, we always typically we make agreements as a group. But given that this is a short master class, we're going to put out a set of agreements for you. And of course, one of those agreements is to maintain your privacy. And so, we may use a first name if we want to ask you a clarifying question, but we will only be distributing this recording to the people who also signed up for this class. So this will not be going out public. The other is that we like to create a safety zone. So that means that we utilize deep listening, and that we ask that you do the same thing to try to be in a space of non-judgment and openness to receiving in this safe space that we are creating together. Was there anything else, Liz?
I think that's good.
Okay.
So our goal today in Growth Goals is to lead you through, to walk you through an understanding of some of the feminine energetics in creating aligned goals. And so to begin that, we're going to do an exploration of what does divine feminine even mean? What is divine masculine? So grab your paper, and I'm going to read some characteristics. And if this characteristic is true or mostly true about you, put a little mark. Tally these up.
Write down the name. You don't need to write down the word. That'll take too long. Just put a check mark.
Just put a check mark.
Box 1, box 2, box 3, box 4.
Right. So box 1, compassionate, wise, in touch with her ability to heal, connected with nature and the seasons, sees herself as whole, loves unconditionally, fiercely protective of the planet and her children, sexual, wise, guess we get wise twice, knows her power, intuitive, passionate, empathetic, understanding, healer, fertile, creative, abundant, in flow with the rest of her life, assertive, truth seeker, fills up her well, able to be supported, revered and adored by the masculine, able to express anger and passion. Next box. Depressed, needy, codependent, overly sensitive, wallowing, self-pitying, bitter, self-doubting, victim, people pleaser, the good girl, low self-esteem, dependent, unable to stand on her own 2 feet, gossips, resentful, doesn't want to be happy, martyr, selfish, can't stand other people's happiness, manipulative, scheming, controlling, spiteful, unable to express her needs, insecure, puts everyone else's needs ahead of her own, and in thought compares herself to others. So take a deep breath. Box 3. Strong, protective, worships the feminine, supportive, present, active, proactive, abundant, powerful, provider, confident, physical, energized, passionate, heroic, courageous, able to be supported by the feminine, able to surrender to and be held by the feminine, able to love unconditionally, in touch with feelings but doesn't let them control, empowered, not threatened. Box 4. Destroys everything in their path. Ruthless. Doesn't think of anyone but self. The end justifies the means. Forceful, brutal, barbaric, selfish, egotistic. Sees self as separate. Arrogant, disconnected, weak, cruel, disconnected from emotions, easily threatened, cowardly, deceitful, stubborn, strives when it comes time to rest, and headstrong. Okay, take a look at your little marks. Box 1 was the sacred, divine feminine. Box 2 was the unbalanced, sometimes called toxic feminine. Box 3, sacred masculine. And box 4, unbalanced masculine. So I just moved to open up the chat some so that, it was already open, but I wanted to see it. You can chat in if you feel like, wow, I had no idea, or yeah, that aligns. The next piece.
What showed up that you were surprised about? When I first did this, I was surprised that I had equally as many divine masculine traits as I did divine feminine traits.
Yeah, I think now is a good time to talk about, like, as we explore divine feminine, um, and you're probably have heard this quite a bit, from other people from other than Jen and I, because the divine feminine is on a rise. We are moving into an era of returning to balance. It's not that we want to squash and get rid of men or masculine energy. Our ultimate goal is this balance of this sacred masculine and femininity, which is a dance.
I see one of the comments is I'm evenly split between box one and box two, which should be um, uh, the balanced divine feminine and the unbalanced divine feminine. And that's okay. That just shows where there is room to evolve and to maybe like relax into your feminine nature. Because a lot of women were sort of taught to really push, especially if you're very successful in the business world. And that can, that can come at, I don't want to say a cost, but that can come at, the, you just create imbalance with your ability to step into female and to see that feminine as just as strong.
Yeah. And actually, Jen, I will say that there is a cost to too much masculine energy when we are imbalanced. I think that the most women, and of course I'm speaking very, very generally, but most women grab onto this idea of I must do all of these things. I must push, I must force, I must go to create success, to manage my family, to do the things. And that causes us burnout.
Yeah.
And there's often a good bit of success. I certainly can speak to that myself. I mean, I pushed my way through graduate school. I didn't sleep. I did all the things that you do in intense education. And I had a good bit of a success with that, right? But it's not lasting. And there's so much more beautiful of a way to go about reaching your goals. And that's what we're here to explore today and really introduce you to. That there is a way for you to receive with more ease. It doesn't mean that you get to sit and watch Netflix all day and all your dreams come true, right? There is action too. So if you showed up here because you wanted Jen and I to say that you get to watch Netflix or play in your garden all day and all your dreams come true, sorry.
Well, it will come true if playing in the garden is your dream.
Yes, that's true. Or watching Netflix all day is your dream, then that is true. But there's divine action. So
I'm
let's
seeing
dive
in the
in.
chat. I'm noticing that maybe the high score in box two could be at the cost of equally sacred feminine masculine. Yes, absolutely. If you're embodying those unbalanced feminine traits or unbalanced masculine traits, which a lot of us do too, if you've had to push in the business world.
Yeah.
Or if you've had to push for survival anywhere, right? Because that can also come out of trauma and other places that, have evolved over life, even if you were somebody who had never spent a day in an office, so there's a lot of ways that this can be modeled for us, that we can have embodied unbalanced qualities, or the feeling that one is better than another, for our survival, right? And there's nothing wrong with being a survivor. It just may be outdated now. It might be time to take a look and to step into, like Liz said, the path of ease. So we wanted to talk a little bit, Liz, about how the masculine and feminine show up. And I just want to let everyone take a sigh. We're going to get to your goals. It's coming. It's a different lens. Go ahead, Liz.
So a couple images to play with as you begin to think about this feminine and masculine energy. Mothering is masculine, feminine. Pregnancy is feminine. So mothering is, you got to get to the soccer games, you got to do the things, you got to plan the meals, you got to tuck the kid in, you got to make sure they brush their teeth. All the doing, action, force, masculine. Pregnancy is,
I'm
there's
creating
baby.
something.
I created something and I don't have to tell it to grow toes. I don't have to make sure that it grows eyelashes. I don't have to double check that all the cells are in places. I just receive it. Okay.
And a complete amount of, anyone who's actually carried a child, though many of us birth children in other ways, in our creative projects and things. But anyone who's carried a child may recognize that feeling of being in flow. There's a certain flow state that's only there in pregnancy, I think, that is very much this feminine embodiment of the divine feminine, that very much trust and flow state.
Okay, the dancer is the feminine. The wooden floor is that the dancer dances on is the masculine. So it's a beautiful, supportive relationship. Mm-hmm. The language around ing, creating, becoming, growing, changing is feminine. I created it, it's done. Masculine. Oh yeah, I created that. Boop, done. That's the masculine energy.
And the state of trust versus the state of support. So the masculine, this is again where like the mother piece is masculine, right? Supporting is a masculine function. And if you think about like yin versus yang, yang is, the black side of the yin and yang symbol. Yang is the masculine, and it's like the back body. So it's everything. If you're in child's pose, it's everything that's exposed to the light is the yang. And that is the masculine qualities. And if you think about the way the back body like supports the whole front body, it's like all this weaving in the low back is supporting all of the beautiful, the womb and the creative energy that's in that second chakra. So it's all that trust is happening. Trust and creation is all very feminine, and support and like the structure and the container needed for that support is very masculine.
Yes.
Does anybody have, you can pop into the chat if anything about what we just said wasn't clear.
Yeah.
As we're going.
So as we shift a bit into, where is it all coming from?
Clarify your question, Beth.
Yeah.
Research theory. Liz.
I would say that there is no company that is going to pay for research into the masculine and the feminine. That would be expensive research. This is all coming from theory. There's like yogic philosophy. There are other ancient philosophies where,
like I just mentioned, yin and yang is Chinese medicine. Ayurveda talks about the feminine and the masculine. When Liz started to tell me, started to talk about divine feminine way before I tapped into the concepts, I only thought about like Hindu philosophy and like goddesses and gods, but that's not all what we're talking about. We're talking about the embodiments of traits and how those traits are have a quality that's masculine and a quality that is feminine, and how like we can embody the quality in this really, not to overuse embodied, but in an embodied way, right? We can like be with a quality that's really a part of us and is aligned with our highest self, our true state. we could also force equality, right? So it's kind of like if I'm forcing my way to make a decision, or I'm forcing somebody else to see things my way, um, that is neither divine feminine or divine masculine, right? Even though you might think, oh, it's the doing, so it's masculine, but it's not divine. It's not an embodied way of being with, that quality. Whereas doing might be somewhat forceful, it might be masculine, but you can do in a soft way, you can execute in a way that's aligned. Does that, I hope that resonates and makes that a little more clear.
Yeah. In general, what we're talking about here is ancient philosophies and um, I would say like metaphysical principles to bring forward a new way of looking at how you strive and reach towards growth in your life, whether that is I want to evolve in my relationships, I want to evolve in my relationship with self, I want to evolve in how I take care of others, how I show up at work, whatever it may be. This is a new way of looking at it, a new
Let
ancient old way
Yeah,
of
a new
looking
old way.
at it.
So what do we want to say about creating from flow?
Well, I think that there's this idea around goals, right? And we start thinking around about this around the new year. Oh, I'm gonna work out, I'm gonna lose weight, I'm gonna go plant-based, I'm gonna, whatever it is, I'm gonna stop yelling at my husband, I'm gonna clean out the closet. And we're like, goal, goal, goal. And it's really attached to shoulds. And ultimately, what happens? We fail pretty miserably. Might you have attained some of those goals at some point in your life? Very possibly. But more likely, you gave up, you let it go because it was too much. There wasn't enough inspiration and flow behind the goal to actually get you into inspired action because it didn't come from a place of creation, of real desire. It came from a place of head. I should do that. I'm supposed to do that. I'm supposed to want that. I should do that.
Or somebody else in my world who is important to me or who feels like they have authority is telling me that this is important. So I'm shifting myself, I'm sort of giving up my own resonance in order to morph myself and matrix myself into what I think that person wants. And sometimes that's a spouse, a parent, a sibling, your own child. Sometimes it's a boss, a coworker, right? But that's that people pleasing one that we read, which I think was under unbalanced
Imbalance.
feminine.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So, of course, self-worth is a super important piece in this. Like if we're looking at, I desire this thing in my life, we have to feel like I deserve that thing in my life.
Mhm. This, I think, is, everyone's going to be hearing about our mastermind group for women, which is Grow. And this, I think, this piece of worth is the piece that comes up most often as a resounding, repeating theme. Sometimes we're looking at it through the lens of relationships, sometimes through how it's standing in the way of being with the things that you're wanting to create. But self-worth, I think, is like the common human thread and the common human wound.
Mhm.
And I just really want to tap into this because you cannot fulfill your dreams, your goals, and desires if you don't believe that you are worthy of fulfilling your dreams, your goals, and your desires. And that shift, it's not necessarily permanent. It's not that you always hold yourself at the frequency or the vibration of, I'm worth it, I'm worth it, I'm worth it, I'm worth it, right? Sometimes we dip below the line. But if you can learn to dip and feel all the feelings that come along with, I'm not worthy, or I'm too much, I'm not enough, all the stories that are linked to that. If you can learn to be present with the emotional flux, then you can kind of feel your way through it. And sooner than you would have before, you elevate yourself back into the frequency of, oh, I'm worthy. I deserve it. I will continue to put in the human effort of, while I also do the spiritual manifestation of, creating this dream or desire. And it's an up level, right, Liz? Like
Big time.
yeah, it's not, the goal might be cleaning out the closet. I just did a whole set of stories about the closet of possibility in my office at home. That has literally been like a 8-week project that was supposed to take 1 weekend, right? So it might be a closet, right? But the up level for me was creating something beautiful, even though it's just a closet. Standing up for what I wanted instead of settling for it being kind of halfway done, doing the finishing touches that meant taking more time to paint this thing or cut this thing differently, hiring a carpenter because it was a bigger job than I expected, just like all these things that because I really wanted this closet to be functional in my workspace, it meant so much to me. Does that, I'm hoping this resonates as like this was about my worth, it's a closet, it's a goal, but it was about me owning my worth around investing, doing the things, being with it, being with the project from start to finish.
Great example, Jen. So, ladies, I want to invite us into our bodies. And I'm going to turn it over to Jen. We're going to turn some music on.
Yeah.
And Jen's going to lead you through some movement. I'm going to lead you through some visualization to activate our real desires. And then we're going to do some journaling to see what comes up, where you're really desiring growth. What are your actual goals?
Yeah, so this is just a little bit of somatics to get us embodied, and Liz will lead us to a little meditation. We'll get embodied before we journal, and this is something we do all the time in our other group. So if you're not somewhere that you can move, visualize yourself moving.
Yes, right. If you're at a desk in the office.
Or allow your hands to be with movement if your body can't be with the movement. Okay.
You ready for music?
Maestro. I'm going to stand up if you guys want to join me. I don't hear any music.
You don't? Oh, you should.
No.
It is very loud. I can hear it. It must be a Zoom thing.
Zoom must be cutting us off. All right, that's fine. Music in your head. All right, so friends, place your hands on your pelvis. Yeah, can't hear it. That's all right. Place your hands on your pelvis. And the first thing that we're doing is just these little figure eights. And the reason that we're being with the pelvis is because second chakra is your center of creation. So figure eights, or whatever is available to you in your body, please never move in a way that isn't resonant with your own body. And I'm going to add in my arms here, like a little bit of a hula. Swing side to side, maybe some little figure eights with my arms too, letting the wrists flow. Taking some breaths in and out. And then I'm going to allow the arms to become bigger and start to wrap around me. So this is a little Tai Chi Qigong practice of waking up, the low back, let the arms wrap all the way around and maybe tap the kidneys in the back. This is releasing fear and waking up the back body and allowing spirals around the spine wakes up the Shakti, which is that sacred feminine energy. You can let the arms flop, whatever feels good. A couple of big breaths in this process. Sigh it out. I'm going to invite you to take a wide X stance, and we're just going to do a couple of goddess poses. So it's a wide squat, and then the arms come into the side, and an out breath. So inhale, arms up. Inhale, arms up. Waking up the pelvis, feeling into the back body and the sides. Energy expanding. Feeling your full space around you, claiming all the space. I'm feeling one more of those. And if it's available to you, you can either take your hands to your knees and just sort of sit in a squat, or if it's available in your body, you can also come into a full yogic squat, whatever feels good. And if none of those feel good, just notice the base of the pelvis. Just notice the pelvic floor. Tune into it a little bit. It's amazing muscles that support all of your female organs. Feel your breath extending all the way to the low back, which is that support, that masculine that lives within our body. Feel your breath expand your rib cage, your heart. And then place your hands wherever it will help you to stand. Walk your hands back up your body. A little bit of warmth between the hands. And then just brush off the body. Tiny little massage. Just a little bit of hello, body. I'm here to nurture you. I'm here to be with you. And I'm so grateful for you. Okay, Liz.
Thank you, Jen. That was lovely. Okay, so I'm going to lead you through a visualization. Again, our goal here is to open up this feminine energy, this creative energy, so that you can tap into what you desire in perhaps a new way. So take a nice inhale as you settle into your seat. Breathe all the way in past your belly button, really fill up. Exhale out the mouth. And with your next inhale through the nose, anchor your consciousness in your heart center. You may place a hand on your heart to help really get into your heart. And if this is not a regular practice for you, you may just say, hello, heart. I see you. I know you have wants and desires. And we're going to drop a little bit deeper with our next inhale into the sacral. And this is just below the belly button. You can keep one hand on your heart and place another hand just below the belly button. Just hold this space in acknowledgement. This is your seat of creation. Whether you have birthed actual life here, or you've birthed a business, or an action plan, or a meal, this is where your desires come from. So breathe in and open up this space. So what if you allowed yourself to dream really big, beyond the rational, beyond the logic? What if you allowed yourself to tap into some desires that feel purely crazy, that feel unattainable? Maybe there's no way. But I just want to invite you into, let's just take a peek. What's here? What's really here? Let's do a few more breaths with your mind, your awareness into that space below the belly button. Just allow it to be soft. Allow it to be easy. Allow it to be open. Allow it to be whatever it is. In your heart of hearts, what are your deepest desires? What are you being called to create in the essence of your femininity? From a sacral opening, really tap into those desires. And from here, we'd like to invite you to open up your journal and begin to free write. Write from a place of feeling more than the attainable goal. What would it feel like when I get to that goal? When I grow into this next piece? We'll be quiet for about 5 moments, 5 minutes. And we'll lead you through a few prompts. What are your biggest, most expansive dreams, wants, desires?
What do these dreams mean to me right now? When I feel into my dreams, where do I notice the sensation in my body is most potent? What does this sensation feel like?
What is in the way of me believing I can reach these dreams? What am I ready to let go of in the name of my desires? If you're feeling complete in this practice, please share with us. What are you calling in? What are your deep desires? What are your growth goals? Chat it in, share with us.
An interesting observation came up. A desire is what's in the way of another desire. Ah, competing desires.
Mm,
That is an interesting observation.
yeah.
And we don't need to solve for that when we're first observing, right? So there's an invitation as you're in this exploration process to just notice and just be with, like, oh, this and that.
Hmm.
These are living side by side. My Hallmark movie romance and a new life in a very beautiful place with family, loving friends, acreage with horses, dogs, cats, etc. Yeah,
Beautiful. Yes. Love that.
absolutely. And there's no reason that that can't come to manifest, all those things.
Yeah.
But we invite you to notice what reasons you have in your mind or what stories you have that are showing up in the way of you achieving the hallmark moment.
Does anybody else want to share what their desires are? And if it doesn't feel okay to share, that's okay too. What I want to invite you into is notice how that feels being a speaker
Mm,
and a mom.
yes.
Yeah.
This and that.
hmm Financial independence, traveling anywhere I desire, a loving relationship with my husband. So, as we tap into these beautiful desires coming through, how does it feel? Do you want to smile? Does your heart feel light? Does it feel a little butterfly? Maybe at the same time, there's a little bit of like contraction. Oh, but I can't actually have everything. Like my vagina exhaled. Ah, I love that so much, Beth.
Ah, yes, amen.
Ah, a vagina
Amen.
exhale. That's perfect. Um,
Yeah, that is how it feels. Sometimes, especially if we're tapping into the second chakra for the first time,
yes. Yes.
or maybe not the first time, hopefully, but
Yeah.
first time in the space of desire.
Right. So it can feel really juicy, lovely, relaxing, at ease and peace, which is very different than like your to-do list. Oh, gotta do this, gotta do that. Check these things. I gotta have all those things.
There's a lot of pleasure and play associated with divine feminine.
Yeah.
Um, it's funny at the beginning of the year, Liz, can I share something about you?
I don't know. Can you? You know a lot of things. Yes, of course.
At the beginning of the year, Liz was talking about developing a meditation practice, and she was saying how talking about me, you know, develop practices so well, and that was something she doesn't do well. Well, let me tell you, Liz has, quite capable of developing practices. She has surpassed me in the practice department. But but so it was like a meditation practice, which was a little bit, it was a lot of expansion and a little bit of a to do, right, Liz? Like a little bit of like something you felt needed to happen, and then like a lot of what you knew was possible.
hmm
But then recently, you decided to do an experiment with pleasure and play.
hmm
And I'm so curious if it comes from a different place. Like it's even more feminine.
Yeah, I would say when this was my New Year's resolution. I'm gonna wake up and meditate for an hour every day for 100 days. I even did a YouTube video about it. I wanted people to follow me, and I lasted, I don't know, maybe 30 to 45 days. Um, and I learned some things, but there was a big should. The should was it's good for my awakening, it's good for me, it's, there's all good things in meditating, but it was a big should. And more recently I have stepped into the feminine energy of how can it be playful, how can it be fun, how can I enjoy it, how can I awaken with pleasure, ease, grace, joy.
It's been super cool to watch.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted
Okay.
to share that.
Feels giddy, a huge smile and a tight hug. Lovely cat. Observation. It's complicated to have pleasure, play, and desire in the same area that produces much chronic pain in my life. Seems like it might be a reason for struggling to connect. What a great observation, Beth.
Huge. So I want to share, Beth, that I found out from human design, which is another thing that Liz and I like to play with. That I'm a sacral authority, which means I make my decisions from this second chakra area. And I've always had chronic problems with my SI joint. And it's not that I don't still sometimes have an issue there. Like right now, it's out of alignment because I had a dental surgery, like there was a physical reason for it to go out of alignment. But I no longer go out of alignment and have pain on a regular basis because I've learned to listen to that pleasure, play, desire. And when I experience pain, I've learned to receive it as a signal. My body is sharing with me something is not aligned. And so that framework has really, I'm not saying that's your framework, but I just wanted to share that in case it's useful, because that framework has drastically shifted my pain body needing to speak.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
know, I hear from other places in my body before my pain body has to like step up.
Yeah.
Um, so there might be an invitation to like get into the pleasure, play, and desire, and that might start to ease the pain
Mhm.
as you listen.
And sometimes it doesn't ease the pain, right? Sometimes with chronic pain, the pain is there, and there are other things that you may need to work on, or it's a longer journey. But when you tap into this feminine energy and truly embody it, what if you get to have pleasure and pain?
Sure, right?
What
The
if you
and
can
and.
have both? What if it is both? Why not awaken to that? Okay, so we want to respect everybody's time and keep this to an hour. This has been super fun. I hope you ladies enjoyed this. If you want more, Jen and I have more. Would you like to share about Grow?
Sure. So Grow
Okay,
is
let's go.
um,
I got it.
our community for women, and it is a community in which we focus on meeting our goals, but through this very sacred, embodied feminine lens. So, because it's a mastermind, that means that Liz and I, are following the group's desires. And so, you know, like relationships came up in the desires, being a speaker and a mom, this idea of, you know, having a career development while embracing relationship, financial independence came up, traveling, you know, all these different things showed up, right? So it's like we look at those themes and then weave them into our offerings every month. I give an hour and a half call where we do a lot of coaching and somatic embodiment. Liz gives an hour and a half call where she does a lot of energetic clearing, tapping. We each create a practice each month for the group. Mine is somatic movement, hers is tapping, where you know, we're working in the theme of what's showing up. So it's just a really beautiful community. We work on Voxer so that we don't need social media, and the group is able to support each other all month long, every single day, by talking in a closed Voxer circuit. So we you know, we do this free master class so that you get to have a taste, one, of what's showing up. You know, where do you want to go next? Like, what's your next level desires once you get past the I deserve? And then if you want support being with those desires, if you want support to elevate yourself into meeting those desires, that's what Grow is for.
So anybody that would like to join Grow, that attends this call, we offer a payment plan only for those that attend this call. So it's a 3-month commitment, and we'll put you on a payment plan. Pay attention to your email, because there's another little discount coming your way for that. Is there anything else we want to share before we close?
Just, you know, I just want to say, like, you know, it shouldn't be a surprise when, you know, that we share this in order to give you a taste of something else, that there's more, right? And we don't want to leave you with all of your desires and no way to achieve them. So you know, so we've developed a structure where that's possible. And we also want to be really generous. So, you know, you'll get a series of emails for about a week, 10 days, something like that, that share ways that you can join the group and the discounts and all of the special offers where we're able to be generous and you're able to be supported. Thank you so much, Kathy. That's so sweet. And what else did I want to say about that? I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
for joining us.
I know that you guys can come back next month. We change this class every month. We change this class according to what we are like playing, what fields we're playing in, what things we're coming up with. So you can come to this free masterclass 20 times. As long as we're offering it, you can come.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Don't feel like you don't have to. Like if you decide grow is not for you, but when you hear about this, join us. We're happy to see your faces, your names, and to support you in whatever you are growing through.
Yes, absolutely. Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
beauties, take care. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Such a pleasure to be with you. And so good to see you, Constance. We'll see your black screen anyway.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.